Blast me to Bermuda! It's time for the Mad Merlins unboxing of Combat Patrol Grey Knights by Games Workshop for Warhammer 40,000. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Mad Merlins unboxing. So today we'll be taking a look at the Warhammer 40,000 Combat Patrol Grey Knights by Games Workshop and just what the Grey Knights are. So before we dive into anything, don't forget to, of course, like the video if you are enjoying the content, and if you are, why not also subscribe to the channel, as it's the only way you can keep up to date with all my mad content. And finally, there are all the useful links in the description down below, including affiliate links and links to the Mad Merlins Patreon and my social medias. So also, why not drop a comment down below. Let me know if you've had this box or a Combat Patrol and which one is your favourite. So without further ado then, let's dive into Combat Patrol Grey Knights. So if we bring my knife in, flip it over. So inside the box we get a Grey Knight Strike Squad of 5 models, a Grey Knight Brotherhood Terminator Squad of 5 models, a Grey Knights Brotherhood Librarian, and a Nemesis Dreadknight there as well. So some fantastic models and pretty much everything you need to get yourself started with Grey Knights. So let's open her up and see the lovely stuff inside. So we've got our instructions, so we'll take a look at those in a bit. We got a bag of 32mm base for our Grey Knights and a bag of 40mm bases for all our Terminators. We do have our Terminator in Librarian in Terminator armor. Almost said Terminator in Librarian armor. That makes no sense. We have our Librarian Terminator armor, and he's the same one you get for Space Marines. He has the option of either a Stormbolter or a hand casting a power. And yeah, there are many things you can do to make this guy a little bit more Grey Knight. So you can clip off his current back banner, replace it with a spare one from the Terminator kit. And I have done on a previous model, swapped out his arms for Grey Knight ones, so he matches in a lot more. Next up then, we got the frame for the Nemesis Dreadknight. This is two of the 3 frames you need to build him. So I'll take a closer look in a sec. Here we have the 3rd frame for the Dreadknight. Next we got our Terminator frames, so you get 3 frames for the Terminators, and you get plenty of extra details to make up. So we have a banner, apothecary components, we got various different extra weapons, Thunderhammer, warding stave, halberds, falchions, and the classic Grey Knight swords. And yeah, we got extra shoulder pads as well, because we can also make up the paladins, so there's extra details for those guys, including all these extra backpack detailings. We've got a loincloth for the Justicar, so if you want to make 5 regular Grey Knights, which these guys will be, you won't need that. So I'm going to be making 5 regular Grey Knights, building one as a banner, one as an apothecary, one as a heavy weapon guy, and the other 2 as regular Grey Knights, so I can bump my current Grey Knight squad up to 10. And then we have the single double frame here for the Power Armor Grey Knights. And yeah, you get enough to build 5 guys. Haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. I may do purgation squads, as I've never really had a proper purgation squad. I may even do the interceptors with the jump packs, as I've never had them for my collection. But yeah, It's a pretty cool kit. It was brilliant when it first came out. It hasn't stood the best test of time, but it is still a fantastic kit. Loads of extra details that you can help make each of your different squads stand out all that better. And the final thing in the box is the base for our Dreadknight, which is the, I think, 120mm oval base. So yeah, and we have an empty box. Right then, let's start going through all the sprues. We'll start in reverse order, so we'll start with the Grey Knights, then we'll go through that, and then the instructions, and I'll give you my final thoughts on this kit, as well as the prices. So here we have the Strike Squad frame, and it's same as what we did in the individual Grey Knight box of the 10-man squad. So this is just a single set of the 2 frames for a squad of 5. So we get 6 torso fronts, 1 for a Justicar, and then 5 for regular Grey Knights. We also get, we're going to get the 5 torso backs, 1 for the Justicar and 4 for the Grey Knights. We get shoulder pads, so the chapter symbol ones there, and then personal heraldry ones there. Loads of little belt icons and stuff to hang on. We got a tilt shield there for the Justicar. Weapons wise, we got the warding stave, a hammer, a sword, falchions, more halberds, more swords. We also have plenty of heavy and special weapons. So we've got the silencer, the 2 side cannons, and the incinerator there. And of course we have the Stormbolter arms. So currently Grey Knights are universal in their weapons. Every Nemesis weapon is the same regardless of what it looks like. So it's kind of not important how to build your squads at the moment, but that may change when the actual updated codex drops. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we have another set of shoulder pads here for the Justicar with the printed text on. But yeah, like I said, I'm not too sure how I'm going to build these guys. I may do a squad that I've never actually built, so I've never actually done the Inceptors, so that'll be something quite different to do. But yeah, pretty cool. And there's the other side as well. You can see some of the other details. We've got the heads there. Plenty of head options. We've got a couple of bear heads, plenty of helmeted ones as well. Trophies in the form of demon heads. Plenty of purity seals because they need to protect themselves. And yeah, loads and loads of little extra intricate details to add to the models to make them a little bit more personalised. So next we have the Terminators. So we'll look at that frame in a minute. We'll focus on this one first. So this is a double frame of the Terminators. So we got 2 of the sets of legs. We got all the backs, all the different arm sets. So some have actual letters put in, so A's, B's. I think there's some C's as well. I think the B's are for the banner and the A is for a champion, I believe, because we have the apothecary arm up here. I believe 118 is the banner pole arm. Yeah, there are some arms that are paired due to the pose of the weapon wielding, but you can freely mix and match any of the arms. So we got the left arms where you got the room for the Stormbolter, and we even have a heavy weapon one, which is I thought it'd be easy to see, but it's not. There it is. Right next to all the other heavy weapons. So yeah, definitely going to be doing what I did with my last squad, and that's magnetize. Because we've got all these clear gaps here, I can just make them a little bit bigger, put a magnet in, and I can drill out a hole inside the arm here, which I did in my previous ones, and then magnetize all the weapons on, so I can have the choice of loadout for the squad. Yeah, we have the Paladin back icons, which we can use in various other ways. Like I said, we can add it to the librarian if we wanted to make him a bit more Grey Knight. Top for the banner, severed demon head again, books and grenades, because these Terminators actually wield grenades, unlike a lot of the other Terminators. Yeah, loads of nice details. So we actually get 6 shoulder pad pairs, 1 for the Justicar, and then 6 for generic Grey Knights. So I'll be using mine on a character model that I've been planning on building, as well as using a spare arm. But yeah, loads of cool components there. I'll take a look at the other frame, which includes the beautifully detailed banner there. I've never actually painted one of these up, so this is going to be the first time for that. We have all the heads here, so a couple of bear heads, plenty of helmeted heads, specific helmeted heads for the paladins, the apothecary's head there as well, 5 halberds, 5 pairs of falchions, the thunder hammer or nemesis hammer, and the warding stave there, plus all our outstretched hands, and plenty of tilt shields as well, and a little servo skull for the apothecary there. So yeah, I really love the Grey Knight Terminator kit. There's so much you can do with it. You can make characters, you can make paladins, you can make Grey Knight Terminators. It's such a very versatile kit. The only downside to it is it's a little out of scale, especially with the brand new Leviathan Terminators. Right, next let's take a look at the Nemesis Dreadknight. So here we have the 3 frames that make up the Nemesis Dreadknight. We'll take a look at this one in a sec. We'll start with the double one. So we got the main leg assembly on here, as well as arm assemblies. We got the 2 melee weapon options, so we can either have a Nemesis sword or demon hammer, or he can even just have plain fists. He has choice of 3 different weapons: a Gatling silencer, a heavy incinerator, or a heavy psi cannon. And we got loads of extra details. We've got the armor panels as well, the feet, plenty of pistons and stuff. I've never built one of these, so it's going to be a fun little challenge to do. I've never really liked the Nemesis Dreadknight. I've always been on the side of it looks like a giant baby carrier. But yeah, it'd be quite nice to actually build one up for a change and give it a try. So you can also make a Grandmaster in Nemesis Dreadknight, which is new-ish. I think the 8th edition codex introduced it. But yeah, really all you do is you use the bear head for the Grandmaster and the detailed tilt shield there. Yeah, either way, it's still a pretty cool kit. Can't wait to build this guy. This is probably the main reason I bought the Combat Patrol. I wanted Terminators as well, so it is a good buy, cheaper than buying them individually, and I get the extra stuff to boot. So yeah, we have the arms, shoulder pads there. We got the Gatling sight, I think that's the side cannon there. We got the back power generator and the actual torso itself, where the pilot sits. The reactor. We've got the waist section here, very similar to the Knights and Dreadnoughts. And we got the shoulder pads for the actual Nemesis Dreadknight itself. Weapon options. I've actually had these for a while, these random components, and I've wondered where they belong to. And now I know. And yeah. Extra purity seals, a Crux Terminatus, just to add some extra details to the Dreadknight. Yeah, definitely going to be fun to build this guy. Right. Before we dive into the instructions, all we have left to look at is the librarian. Had to zoom in a bit more because it's only a single small frame. And this is the Terminator librarian that came out back in 8th edition, I believe it was. Came out with the Space Marines Codex. I believe he was originally painted in Dark Angel colours on the shoulder pad. But yeah, he's kind of limited in the ability to change components because his head is integrated into his psychic hood there. So we can't really easily remove it and put a Grey Knight helmet in unless we do some careful chopping. But yeah, it's not going to be the easiest conversions. But we could just do, like I've done before on a previous Grey Knight Terminator, and that's add arms, storm bolters, and a few little dangling trinkets to make him look a little more Grey Knight. Yeah, either way, he does look pretty cool. He's a little bit bigger than the actual Grey Knight Terminators, so you will see a bit of a scale difference, but he fits into the army quite nicely anyway. Yeah. Definitely the Force Stave is not very Grey Knight-ish, it's more Space Marine-y. What I've done on my older one was replace it with the Warding Stave, but you could replace it with any of the Nemesis weapons, really. So yeah, there we have the Librarian and Terminator armor. So let's zoom back out and we'll take a look through the instructions before I give you my final thoughts. So here we have the instruction book for the Combat Patrol. We got an overview of all our frames. So A is the Librarian, B is the Dreadknight, C is Terminators, and D is our Grey Knights. So we start off with our Terminator Librarian. He's pretty simple, sandwich the two halves of the body together, construct the two arms, glue them on, put the remaining shoulder pad and the little book on, and there we are. So yeah, next we build the Nemesis Dreadknight, or Grand Master in Nemesis Dreadknight. So we start by constructing the leg components, and we build the waist section as well. Build the feet before gluing them down. The good thing about this is there's lots of ball joints, so you can get some sort of posing out of it. The only other way you can get some posing is if you carefully cut around the legs and where the joints are, and you can then repose them. Only really ideal for experienced builders and modelers. I've done it with a Redemptor Dreadnought, but that's more clear where the actual sections connect, and is easier to cut off back in the day of the old monopose one. But the new Dreadnought for the Horus Heresy is multi-part, so you can build it and pose it however you want. Next up, we build the main body section. So we glued two sides on, glue the two halves together, glue on the engines, and glue the torso in position as well. We've got a little teleport home a bit as well there. Then we start putting on the arms, both for the pilot and for the Dreadknight itself. And we get to choose our weapon loadouts. So we've got Incinerator or Side Cannon, Hammer or Sword, and then we got Gatling Silencer, Incinerator or Side Cannon there. So all we have to do is simply just glue them on to the opposite arms. But we glue the arms pretty much the same way as legs, two halves of each one together, glued on the armor panels. Glue in either the fist or the weapon arm, whichever you choose to go for, and then glue on the gun. And then on the opposite side, we glue on the remaining gun and a plain fist. Then we choose the components for the tilt shield, either the plain ones or the nice detailed one for the Grand Master. Glue on the harness that holds the pilot in position, and then finally we can glue all the components together. So moving on, we can look at the Terminators. So let's talk a little bit about the Terminators. So this book was designed with 9th edition in mind. So the Apothecary and the Ancients were individual characters. They are now reintegrated into the squads. The Ancient can be either a Paladin or a Brotherhood Ancient, but the Apothecary can only be attached to the... is only upgradable in the Brotherhood Terminator squad, not the Paladins like it used to be. So I'm definitely going to be building up an Apothecary. Never done one before, like a lot of the Grey Knight stuff. So it'll be quite nice to do to add to my Terminator squad. I'll be doing the same with the Brotherhood Champion as well. So we've also got the Justicar or Paragons, which are the champions of the units in particular. So we've got the Terminators there and the Paladins there. Other things you can do with this kit is you can make Brotherhood champions. You can make a Grey Knight specific librarian just by using specific equipment. So I'd go for the warding stave, as back in the day it used to improve the invulnerable save, but now it doesn't. They've all got a pretty much innate 4+ invulnerable save anyway. Yeah, mainly against psychic attacks and demonic abilities. But yeah, you can get so much personality out of this kit. It's an amazing kit. So, building your champion, Paragon or Justicar, we glue the tabard on, glue the two halves of the torso together and glue it down. Glue the champion arm, which has the inquisitorial eye engraved into it, and the sword on, the severed demon head, or whichever hand you choose. Then we glue on one of the tilt shields, choice of 3 heads, 2 bare, 1 helmeted. And then we glue on shoulder pads finally. And if you are building a Paragon, you of course choose a back banner icon and any additional equipment, which you can freely add on. Next we build the Nemesis, the actual Terminators or Paladins. So we've got the options of basic infantry guy, heavy weapon guy, special infantry guy, or basic infantry guy with a different weapon. So we got choices of swords and stormbolters. We got a heavy weapon option here. Like I said, I'll be magnetizing mine as I've done on my previous one. We can choose to include attach falchions if you so choose. Not really important at the moment, as we are still waiting to see the updated Grey Knight Codex and how demon weapons will be done for 10th edition. Currently, all Nemesis weapons are the same stats, so it doesn't matter if it's a halberd, a hammer, a sword, or a warding stave, it all counts the same. Then we just go through pretty much the same steps as building the Justicar. Glue the arms on, glue the weapons in, shoulder pads, and then heads. So again, we got tilt shields for generic Terminators. We can choose to have some molded heraldry if you want to. And then we glue it in their choice of head. And then for the Paladins, we give them their little back heraldry icon, and they have a specific set of tilt shields to glue on. Each tilt shield will match the shield design on a shoulder pad, so pay close attention to those when you are building your models. Then finally we got little details to finish off the squad. Then we got the instructions to build the banner bearer, so follow the instructions for building the basic body. Then we glue on a stormbolter arm and the banner, and there we have it. A Paladin banner bearer could also have a heavy weapon. I believe, though, the rules are changed. You can't do this now. If you have a banner, if you have an Ancient, you can only have a Stormbolter. But you can easily equip him with a Falchion weapon just to show he's got a Nemesis weapon of some kind for a melee weapon. And then the Apothecary is pretty much, again, choose any Nemesis weapon. Given the Apothecary upgrades, the back details, the head, the Nalfesium components on the side there, Nalfesium arm, and then, yeah, just glue them down. Moving on then, we have the actual strike squad. So we'll just quickly go through this because there are 4 different squads you can make. A regular strike squad, which is a Justicar, 3 Grey Knights, and a Grey Knight with special weapon. The Purifier squad, which is a Knight of Flame, 2 Purifiers and 2 Purifiers for special weapons. Purgation Squad, which can be a Justicar, 1 Purgator, and 3 heavy weapons. So you can have up to 4 in a full squad. And the Interceptor Squad, so you can have the same as a Strike Squad, but you get these awesome backs, jump, teleport, shunting backpacks. Get it right. So we have the Justicar, 3 Inceptors, and an Inceptor with special weapon. And to build these is pretty much the same as any Space Marine from about 10 to 15 years ago. So we got 2 halves of the body glued together. We got the legs that glues the base, glue the torso to the legs. Then we glue the arms on, glue the hands in. There's specific components to match up, especially for the likes of the double-handed hammer and double-handed sword. And then we have the backpacks. So you've got 5 regular backpacks or the Interceptor jump packs there. Then we have heads and shoulder pads. You have a specific shoulder pad set for the Justicar or champion of the unit. And then we have all the different other weapon combinations. So they are all labeled on the frame. You have 52A, you have set A, set B, set C, set D, set E, set F, and set G. Then we have all the individual arms which can be freely mixed and matched here. So some of these are duplicated from the paired up sets, as you can, like I said, mix and match easily from any of them when it comes to the Falchions. And then we have specific sets for the heavy weapons, so the Silencer, the Incinerator, and the Cannon. Sorry, Silencer is this one. And then, yeah, just shows how to build the individual models before gluing them down to the legs. And the usual finishing touches, shoulder pads, backpacks, etc. Then we have the rules. So these are currently outdated, as these are all 9th edition. So yeah, that is pretty much everything. Right, I will bring it back in and I'll give you my final thoughts as well as prices. So there we have the unboxing for the Grey Knights Combat Patrol. It's a fantastic box. I've always loved the Grey Knights range. I still have the issue that has a brilliant detailed hobby section from when these kits first came out back in 2013, I think it was. So yeah, these guys are like 10 years old now. They are definitely starting to show their age. Actually, looking at the Terminators, it's 2011. So yeah, over 10 years. So yeah, these guys are definitely starting to show their age. The Dreadknight even has 2010 on it. So yeah, these guys are definitely looking their age, and I'm really hoping we get some updated sculpts when it comes to the new Codex in 10th edition. Castellan Crow really set the bar high, and the Strike Squad and Terminator Squad updates need to actually meet that guy. The Dreadknight, I don't see them updating the kit. It's still a pretty good kit. It's very limited in customization options, and they seem to be moving that way for units at the moment. Stuff like the Termagants, they actually have the choices now of the extra special weapons, which is pretty cool, but they are still just bog standard bodies. I fully see when the Grey Knight range gets updated, we see probably similar to how the monopose Terminators from Leviathan were done. Very few components, legs and torsos attached at certain sections, and a very simple construction with usually either one weapon loadout, especially if they're going to go back to all Nemesis weapons being the same. Because back in 3rd edition, when Grey Knights were first around in the Demon Hunters Codex, all they had was halberds. They didn't have swords, they didn't have hammers or anything. It was just a halberd, that was it, and that was just a Nemesis Force Weapon. But the only one that had a different weapon was the Justicar, who had a power sword in the Strike Squad. He eventually is, I believe he's still available as the Brotherhood Champion, but you can easily make a Brotherhood Champion from the Strike Squad frame if you wanted to. He's just a Grey Knight in power armor who wields a sword and challenges the champions of the enemy's armies. But yeah, like I said, these guys are fantastic models. Like that, they are showing their age, and I'm really hoping updates are brought out soon for them, as they really do need it. They are some of my favourite Space Marines in the lore, right from the inset of the heresy when they were first founded, where Malcador sent Nathaniel Garrow and the Grey Knight, the Knight Errants, out into the ongoing heresy, collecting Space Marines that had psychic gifts but weren't necessarily aware of those psychic gifts. He picked them up from both loyalists and traitors, and were the first founding Grand Masters. I think it's 13 founding Grand Masters or something like that. But yeah, really cool faction within the lore, and they are the final sale about the existence of Daemons. Price-wise, this kit is $95, but for that price you do get a good amount off buying individually. The Dreadknight, I believe, is 40 to 50 on his own. The Terminators, I believe, are 30 something, and so is the Strike Squad. But the Strike Squad, you do get a full 10 men in there for the 37. And the Librarian himself is 20 something. So we're looking at a pretty good saving. We're at least getting the Grey Knight and the Strike Squad, not Grey Knight, the Terminator, Librarian, and the Strike Squad partly for free. I'm thinking once you total up the odds, because I think it's 47.50, 37.50, 37.50, but we're halving it, and then this guy's 22.50. So yeah, it's good value for money if you're looking to get into Grey Knights, or just adding a small Grey Knight detachment to your overall army. I know back in the day when I used to play Blood Angels in 3rd edition or 4th edition, when they had their White Dwarf Codex, I used to ally in Grey Knights, back when they used to be metal models. And yeah, I used to just love the fact that these guys were silver-clad warriors that would hunt down the vilest of the Imperium's enemies and smite them with sanctified weapons. Yeah, very good value for money, I think, overall. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, you can get so much more from this kit than the instructions actually show. You can customize these models as far as your imagination can take it. You can make characters. You can make specific units from the lore, etc. It's really, the limit is your imagination, really, when it comes to customizing these guys. And they are probably one of the few armies that really does encourage the customization, both in the physical models and the paint scheme, because each Grey Knight will have his own personal heraldry detailed on either the tilt shields, as we can see here. So let's bring this in. So it'll be either detailed on the tilt shields, or in the case of a power armed marine, it will be on their right shoulder pad. And each one is unique, so they'll have different portions of it painted in different colors. Usually it's white, red, and black, with details such as swords, skulls, books, even demon heads. So yeah, really cool, and it's a painter's dream. I will be doing a paint video actually for these guys fairly soon. So I think I've gone on long enough about this awesome box, so I will leave it there. So all that's left to do is to say thank you all very much for watching, and if you think I deserve it, please give this video a like, and if you have enjoyed it, I will see you next time for more mad content. Thank you again, and goodbye.